As a young adult myself, who wasn't educated that much when it came to sex, I come to realize the many pros and cons of it. Sex is fun. It's a release for some people to have. It's like a drug that you have to have, but you have to be careful as well, because too much in your life will make you go crazy or become something even worse. A burden, and it will destroy you. Love is different though. Love is a different type of sex, something that is caring with feelings, that is also appreciated and accepting, as well as the accepting of the consequences after the sex, such as babies, marriage, and a mortgage. The problem with love today in this world is that you don't know if it will last. And just as I said before, the line between sex and love is becoming very blurry, especially in Miami. Love by Sharon Olds, a poem that describes the pleasure of sex, while also pointing out the flaws as it as well. In the poem, Sharon goes as far as to describe the feeling of intercourse by comparing it to something fancy, such as wine and steak, and describing the movements of their bodies like dancers, even saying that religious people are willing to give up their false messiah for sex, and the ones who don't will be alone forever since they cannot break their vows. At first, I thought this was a funny joke. The reason I say this is because Sharon was born and raised in a Catholic family, her father being serious when it came to religion. It was so serious that he would beat her and her siblings so that she would understand their sins. When she was old enough, she left the home and started to work and live on her own, all away from her family to escape the abuse. But now reading it again, I see it as more of an insult to sex. This poem was published in the early 80s. That's when sex liberation started to die down a bit and everyone was becoming more focused on the after effect of the sex liberation, such as abortions, the pill, AIDS, and many other sex related issues. Sharon was raised in a Catholic house, must have seen this as a bad thing. She didn't see sex as something for pleasure, but rather as something as a drug. Sex and lovemaking are two different things. Although if you live in Miami, the lines between those two things are very blurry. The poem is basically a sarcastic explanation to people what sex is like, but not really hitting hard on the notes, such as children or getting STDs.